Are you looking for an easy fall wreath? Today I'm going to be using this bamboo wreath form, but you can use anything braided like a grapevine wreath. Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. My co-host today is my sweet pup Louie, and we are ready to get started and have some fun making this gorgeous wreath. Let's go through the supplies for this wreath, starting with ribbon. I'm going to go in with this burlap. It does have a gold little edge on it. Wired, of course, 1.5 inch. This one I got at Costco. Another 1.5 inch wired. The cute little pumpkins. This one is also 1.5 inch and wired. While all the supplies are going to be in the description box and where I purchased them, I do want to go over the florals here because the berries and this little pick that I'm going to take apart, this is all from HobbyLobby. The leaves that I'm going to be using, they came in a little set off of Amazon. I will link that below. The sign that I'm going to be using is this beautiful pumpkin one. It's metal and almost 8 inches in diameter. The wreath base that I'm using is going to be this bamboo one, and it is 12 inches in diameter. Other supplies I'm going to need is some zip ties, floral wire, wire cutters, and of course a pair of scissors. When it comes to this wreath, it's going to look like I'm doing everything backwards. For example, the sign that I usually add last, we're going to add it first. The reason for that is I want to find a good spot for it, and when I'm starting to do the base of the wreath, I can see how far I can go with my leaves. Therefore, we're going to attach the sign first and work around it. When it comes to the floral wire, I'm going to be using this black one from the Dollar Tree, and since it's 26 gauge, which is a little bit on the thin side, what I like to do is cut off pieces that are double the size that I need. Since I usually use 12-inch pieces, I would cut 2 pieces at 24 inches and then fold them in half, and that way we have a stronger floral wire. Pull it through, and I'm going to give it 2 nice twists in the back. Let's attach. I went in between the braiding back and forth, and the sign is nice and secure. Now it's time to bring in the florals, but I'm not going to bring in all the florals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the base. So we want to fill in from the sides because we're going to have a bow here, ribbon and bow. I'm going to start with just 2 of these, and first things first, I'm going to take these apart. All my leaves are ready. Let's put the first one in. That looks comfy right there. I'm just going to do a little bit of hot glue. As I'm going along, I'm hot gluing these guys in place, and I want to make sure that we keep this center fairly empty. I have this side done. Now we're going to come in from this side. So these leaves are going to go up. These seem to want to go inside, which is fine. We do need some on the inside. We do need some on the outside. Before we get started on our bow, I'm going to measure the distance from this bow to this bow. Imagine your head, your little bow right here, your little bow right there, and then this distance, because that is how far we're going to have to loop the little tails. Make sure it's longer than you need even. Make it 11 inches. I know I want my loops to be about 4.5 inches. I think that will be a good size. Make sure we have 11.5. If you have it a little longer, that's fine. You can always cut it off. This ribbon is actually double-sided, so no worries there. We're zigzagging up. Measure 4.5 inches. And by the way, this bow maker is always in the description box below, and of course in my Amazon store. Let's get this tail down. I'm going to be doing 3 loops 4.5, our third at 4.5. The last tail, we want it to be a little longer, but not too much. Since our poofs are 4.5 inches, I'm gonna go 1 inch longer to about 5.5 inches and cut that off. Next, I'm going to be using my beautiful burlap ribbon. Let's measure 11 inches. And this time we're going to come in from this side because we already have 2 loops here. We want to make sure that there's 2 loops on this side on this next one. And you can go down a quarter if you want, but I'm not making this bow too big, so it should be fine. I'm still going to go 4.5 inches on each loop. This does not need to be an exact science, my friends. And let's cut off the short tail. I'm going to point this one up because these tails are going to be pointing up. These are going to be swaying down, them to be about the same size, and cut them off. Now it's time for our guest star, which is the pumpkin one. So stinking pretty. Measuring off our 11 inches or so. Going to go in on the side that I started. This is my 3rd ribbon. Now this one is one-sided because on the other side the pumpkins are a little bit faint, and every time we go through our dowels we're going to twist. Measure off my 4.5 inches. Twist. We're going through the dowels. Make our next loop. Measure it and twist. Let's do our last loop and cut off the tail. Grabbing a little zip tie. This one is 6 inches in length. Putting it underneath my bow, and I'm going this way from one side to the other. A little bit of a kitty corner situation. The dowel fell out. Usually before I take it off the dowels, we want to make sure that we hear a few clicks. And then I would take it off the dowel. Make sure you're in the center. You can always grab your bow, fold it in half. Mine seems to be exactly in the center. Tighten it up and cut off that excess tail. I'm not going to be attaching this yet. Take the short tails that we have, and we're going to do dovetails with those, not the long ones. The long ones we do not need to touch. Just the short ones, the ones that are going to be pointing up. Next, I'm going to make the exact same bow, but instead of these long tails, I'm going to have the 1 inch longer, so 5.5 inch tails. We don't need to make the longer tails on the second one. I'm going to follow the exact order, meaning the orange, the burlap, and the pumpkin ribbon, just like I have on there. But instead of that long tail, as I said, I'm just going to measure my 5.5 or so. And then the loops, those need to be the same. So once again, 4.5 inch loops, and once again I'm going to be making 3 loops of each ribbon. Let's face this one up since that one's going down. 5.5 inches. Next, the burlap. Loop number 3. Okay, measure off my 5.5 inches, and then of course the star attraction here, the pumpkin one. Twist in the center. Don't forget to twist if your ribbon is one-sided. Every time we go through the dowels, and twist. Loop number 3. Grab that zip tie once again. I'm going to lift from the bottom just a little bit and then add my zip tie going from side to side like this. Let's hear those few clicks on there. I know it's secure. Remove it, find your center, and tighten. Next, let's do our dovetails on all the tail endings. Fold in half and cut out a little triangle on the end. Next, I'm going to take my bows and I'm going to open them up, not for the sake of beautifying them, but for the sake of getting a feel for how big they are so that I know where to put them. I will make sure it's all pretty later on. But right now we just need to lift those poofs so that we can see where we're at. The top bow is the one with the longer tails. Make sure those are facing down and try to figure out where you want that bow. And then the second one is going to be at the bottom. But the trick is we want to make sure that this ribbon looks like it's connected. We have 2 of these bows connected as one unit. It gives a very cool effect. Where I'm putting this one, I'm going to go in with my zip tie from the top, wiggle it through, and then go up. There you go. If you would like, you can definitely use pipe cleaners, floral wires, but for me, I know I used a zip tie and I have no worries. This bow is going nowhere. Grab another one. And by the way, this is not the 6-inch one. This is an 8-inch zip tie because we need it a little bit longer to go around the wreath base. Let's bring this bow in. And of course, let's not forget all those tails need to go down. Let's hear the zip tie. Oh, that's beautiful. The next thing we're going to do is fluff our bows out. This is one of those things that I absolutely love to do. Fluffing the top one out. Now I'm gathering my ribbon, poofing them out from the side. Do you see they're not flat on the wreath base? They're up a little bit. After you get the ribbon tails the way you want them, you want to collect them at the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a floral wire straight through my ribbon, kind of like I'm sewing it. So go up and down, just like this, like a little stitch. If you want to hot glue them, you can definitely do that. Twist in the back just to secure them so they hold together like this. And then I'm just wrapping this around our wreath base. Get that in the spot that you want it to be. Now that I have this connection, let's just continue poofing all of this out. Now I'm really going to make sure that the bow is the way it's supposed to be, because next we're going to put in the final touches, meaning all of those beautiful leaves that we have, and we're going to embellish all around the bow. If you don't feel like your bow is full enough, then just make it flat on top. That's going to give you that space illusion. It'll make the poofs a little shorter, but it will fill it in and it will look beautiful. And I don't mind if the ribbon sticks out on this side. Now that our bows are opened up, I'm still gonna be playing with this for the rest of this video. Do you see that illusion that we're getting? It's kind of like, where do we start? Where do we finish? We're going to now start filling everything in. Let's take our pick apart. This is so sad. I actually love this pick, but we are going to take it apart. All my foliage is on, and I'm going to start with this little piece. One is going to go at the top. Work it in. I'm going to make sure everything is secure in place by hot gluing it after I'm all done. Right now, I just want to make sure that everything is in its place. I think that's pretty even there, actually. Not that it needs to be at all. Next, I'm going to take these berries. I'm going to just grab the two lower ones, cut off the tails. So we just have the little berries, a little bit of hot glue, and you don't have to do this. This is just my little addition. And I'm going to stick it in the center of my bow. How adorable is that? The second piece, a dollop of hot glue, and in the center it goes. Right now we need to focus on filling this part in. I only have one of these, so I'm going to try to put it somewhere in the center. A leaf on this side, a little one on this side, and then these berries, I'm going to start filling them in here and there towards this side. So far so good, my friends. A little bit of berries on top. Another set on this side. I'm trying to be symmetrical, but not really. It doesn't need to be symmetrical. Now I'm adding more berries to the bow. Now I'm going to fill in a little bit of the leaves right in here. I want them just a little bit on the inside. Going to stick it in, hot glue it in place so it doesn't go anywhere. And then I'm going to hot glue one of the leaves to the sign. I'm doing this basically to cover that hole. Just a little dollop of hot glue and let that cool. And we have a little bit of foliage on the inside. I think that will look beautiful. And now let's finish up from the outside. I want to open up the wreath just a little bit on the side because it almost looks a little squarish. A little bit more foliage on the inside. Straightening everything out. To hang our sign, I'm going to grab a piece of jute cord. You can use floral wire for this if you want. And then grab some kind of a clamp because here I need to go underneath. I want to make sure that it goes through. Yeah, I think we're fine here. Let's measure about there. Tie a few knots. Cut off the extra tail. And we have a hanging loop. My friends, I think this wreath turned out so adorable and it was fun to make too. I get a lot of questions regarding how I mix and match colors and how I put them together. Well, today I'm gonna let you know that I focus on one thing, whether it's the sign or the ribbon. In this case, I had a ribbon that matched my sign, but my sign was the focal point. I get 3 to 4 maximum colors. This case, I have orange You see it throughout. Then I have this beige color that you see in the design. You see it in burlap foliage that I chose in the leaves. And then of course, the third and fourth is going to be my black and white. I made sure that I had a black and white print somewhere. And of course, you're going to see white throughout. That's going to bring out that beautiful white pumpkin in the sign. Keep it simple, 3 to 4 maximum colors. And when it comes to the ribbon, and maybe you're doing a bow with 3 different ribbon styles, make sure that you have 2 printed or at least 1 printed to kind of bring that interest to the bow itself. 1 solid, that is a must always, because that's what's going to kind of give that cleanliness and that sharp look to your bows. As you can see the burlap throughout. It's nice and solid and it makes the prints pop. I hope that was helpful to those of you who are wondering how I pick and choose the colors and styles and ribbon and decoupage for my wreaths. I hope you enjoyed this wreath tutorial as much as I enjoyed making the wreath. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and visit my playlists. In the playlists, you can look for whatever theme or holiday you're looking for, and then you will find a ton of inspiration for that holiday. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you in our next video. Bye-bye, my friends. Louis, say bye. Mwah.